Good morning. I'm in Childwickbury again today. I'm just parked up over there. I know some people here, so they let me park on their land while I go for a little walk. Possibly one of the worst prepared walks I've ever done. I left my stick at home. It started raining, didn't check the weather, did I? And also, I want to identify a tree, so I picked up 3 books off my shelf. I thought I picked up 2 books about trees and 1 book about British wildlife in general. What I've actually got in my bag, I've just discovered, is a general wildlife book, a tree book, and the 1940 Home Guard manual. Now, Childwickbury is a little hamlet that sits at the top of a hill just outside St Albans, near Harpenden. It's probably best known for the fact that it's where Stanley Kubrick lived. His wife still does, and a lot of the writing and the editing for his films were done here in his big mansion house, which we'll get a quick glimpse of pretty soon. I'm not going to be invasive. I don't like walking up to people's houses, but we'll see it through the hedges. Last time I was here was on my River Ver walk, which went from Redbournebury Watermill over to the old Roman Theatre, if you remember that one. We did pass through the bottom end of Childwickbury here, down where it's also known as Shafford, which I've got a theory on. I did explain it in the video, but I've got a theory that name Shafford, it means the shafted or the staffed ford, because it is exactly where the road crosses over the River Ver. Centuries ago, thousands of years ago, obviously it would have been very marshy down there before it was all drained as farmland. Back in a sec. That was my mum. Wants to know if I can go and help her get her Christmas decorations out of the loft. So that's my job for next weekend. Where was I? Oh yeah, the shafted ford at Shafford. That shaft bit at the beginning probably comes from an Old English and I think also Old Norse word, something along the lines of shaft, meaning pole, rod, shaft. So down there where it was all marshy, the shallowest place to actually cross would have been marked by these poles so that you knew where to head from a distance. We're on a lovely avenue of beeches. Let me show you. Little private woodland there. Some really nice beeches, some pollarded, sorry, coppiced, some not. Now this top end of the site is known as Childwickbury, and it's been here, well, they know there's been a settlement here since the 12th century. Now that name Childwickbury has been very, very difficult. I've not found an answer as to where it comes from, but I've put together a few of the elements of it. I mean, Wick, that is well known. Wick is a Roman settlement. Bury or Berry, that's going to be a fortified or defensive enclosure. Now the first element, chilled, that could come from 2 Old English origins. You've got sild, which means a young man. That's also where we get child from. Or you have sill, which is a spring. Now, there are no springs up here now, but who's to say what might have been here thousands of years ago. So one possibility is that this would have been the Roman fortified settlement of a young man, or the Roman fortified settlement with a spring. Maybe. Now the main reason that I came here should be in sight soon. You can just about see the Kubrick house there. Focus. There we go. But what I've really come to see is there's a couple of big lovely old trees in the field opposite the Kubrick house. I'm not quite sure what they are. I drive past them regularly because I work here. Once a week I come here. The 2 trees that I go past, they're definitely on my list of favourite trees, along with that one at the top of Ivanhoe Beacon. And I don't know what they are, so I've got a couple of books with me to have a look and see if I can identify them. I'm okay with oaks and beeches and ashes and, you know, all the standard stuff. But these seem to be coniferous and they're not native. We'll have a look and see what they might be. Sorry about any potential wind noise, I forgot my windshield as well. Missed it unprepared. Nice view there across the gate, not the Gade, the Ver Valley. Bit cloudy today. We're pretty high up here. Would be a good place for a fortified Roman settlement with either a young man or a spring in it. Getting a bit closer to the Kubrick house now. Yeah, I think actually it's in that field over there, opposite the house, where those trees are. You can probably hear the rumble of the M1 in the background as well. That's always a shame. There's so many places around here where you can always hear either the M1, or you can hear the what's the one that goes out to Oxford, the M4 or the M40, the A5. You have to go quite a long way to not hear any traffic noise. Stanley Kubrick was one of the best directors ever. I've not seen all of his films, but the ones that I've seen are just absolutely amazing. He did 2001, you know, Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Doctor Strangelove, Eyes Wide Shut. Of those films, I've seen The Shining, 2001 A Space Odyssey, and I've not even seen Clockwork Orange. No, I thought I had. I've not seen Clockwork Orange. But Eyes Wide Shut, I'd be very interested in seeing. Actually, if anybody knows, if anybody's seen it and they'd like to comment on the film, is it worth watching? I think it was the last film that he did before he died in 1999. It looks up my street. It's all sort of conspiratorial and secret societies and that sort of thing it seems to be about. But what worries me is it stars Tom Cruise, and I cannot stand that little arsehole. I do not like Tom Cruise at all. So anybody who's seen it, is it bearable? There's our tree, or should I say trees. There's actually 3 of them, but they've all sort of grown together to form the same visual spectacle. We've got the Kubrick place just over there beyond these hedges on the right. When he died, he was buried in there, buried under his favourite tree. I've not spotted any particular monument or anything in there, but yeah, apparently they buried him under his favourite tree, along with his daughter, who died about, I think, 10 years later. She was also buried next to him under said tree. There you go, you can just see the top of his manor poking up there. That's just one bit of it. It's a whole estate in there, like a little hamlet within a hamlet, really. A very grand affair. It's a shame it's not a brighter day, but there you go. They're the 3 trees, all of the same species by the looks of it, standing together up on top of this hill. That's a common theme with my favourite trees, isn't it? They stand up on top of a hill. Right, I'm going to get my books and have a look. Could be a cedar or a cypress. Let's have a look. Not that one. That one. Not a larch.
How to recognize different types of trees from quite a long way away. Number 1, the larch. The larch. The larch.
Not a Norway spruce. Definitely not. Looks a bit like a Scots pine, but I don't think it is. Scots pine is one of those coniferous trees that I actually do recognise when I see one. Nah, not a Scots pine. The cedar of Lebanon. Now that actually looks pretty damn close. Cedar of Lebanon is the closest one I've seen yet. There's a few more to check. Definitely not a monkey puzzle. Definitely not a U. Red cedar there, it's not too far off, but it's just the wrong overall shape, isn't it? I'm going to go with the Cedar of Lebanon. That picture there is kind of a cross between that tree on the right, which has got multiple trunks, multiple stems, and that tree on the left, which has just been left to grow one single straight one. And the shape of the canopies as well is absolutely spot on, I think. But this raises questions. Cedar of Lebanon then does seem to be, by my books, what they are. Although I've been calling my very favourite tree, that's always been my favourite tree, the one that sits at the top of Ivanhoe Beacon, all on its own up there, that one I've been calling a Lebanon cypress. For years I've been calling that a Lebanon cypress. I'm actually beginning to wonder if there's any such thing as a Lebanon cypress, and I've got muddled up with a Cedar of Lebanon. So maybe actually my favourite tree at the top of the beacon is also a Cedar of Lebanon. This is going to be another video to go and find out, isn't it? Along with those two there. So if that's the case, that's quite a turn up, isn't it? I've inadvertently come across a few of my favourite trees, and they've potentially all been Cedar of Lebanon. Lebanon's a long way away. I don't know what they're doing here. I think that's probably mission accomplished then. I've got 3 sticks on the go at the moment, which is probably what I'm going to get back onto this afternoon, and definitely tomorrow out in the shed. I'm making a stick for my mum. I'm making a stick for John, the 500th, not the 500th, the 500 subscriber competition winner. And a stick for myself as well. I'm doing my mum's one first. That's a nice little hazel one with a little slender antler handle on it. I'm doing that one first because she could actually do with it. She needs to use it. Her knees are buggered now. Then I'll get on to doing John's, which I have already started, but it's nothing to look at yet. And I'll finish up with mine. Now, I usually use a hiking pole, which is the style of stick that I'm making for John. Hiking stick. But my right hip is getting so bad so quickly. I went for a walk up Ivanhoe Beacon 2 or 3 weeks ago with my niece, and I couldn't do it. Well, I did, I managed it, but it was really slow and quite painful. So what I'm thinking is there's no way I'm going to not walk up the beacon. Out of the question. So I'm going to make myself a walking stick with a handle that I can put some weight on as I go up a steep hill like that. It's going to be your classic shillelagh style. One piece, no attached handle, no horn or antler or anything like that. Just a nice root piece on the blackthorn wood. It's going to be your most classic shillelagh. I'm looking forward to walking with it. Right, I'll see you all soon. You'll probably see me making some sticks in a week or so. Toodle pip.
Eric, do you think you could recognise a larch tree? Don't know.